Internet. Thank you once again for joining me to talk all things vertical drama. I'm very happy to be joined by a returning guest who is Richard Cambridge, who's one of the co-founders of VertiCast, but also actor, entrepreneur, app founder extraordinaire. So he does it all. Richard.
You're too nice. Hi. Lovely to see you again, Jen. Lovely to talk to you. Yes, I'm back, but I'm here to talk about VertiCast, which is really exciting and a big part of my life at the moment, and really interesting time for it as well.
Right. So the obvious question is, what is VertiCast?
Tinder for casting. That's essentially what it is.
Good.
There's loads of casting sites. There's loads of actors. If you've been an actor, you're probably on Spotlight in the UK and Actors Access, and you're on lots of other sites. There's loads of websites that pertain to have lots of work, and they all follow the same method. And it's something that we've talked about We Audition. We've talked about, we don't want to be a casting site because the way that they do that is they submit to projects. Now, people are casting verticals through Instagram. They're casting them in a new way. So we thought we can do that. We can absolutely do that in a new way. So we built a platform which is for actors that can basically get DM'd for roles. It's a vertical first. So everything there is vertical. Your showreel is vertical. Your headshots, obviously they're vertical, but everything is about your immediate availability and your presence in the vertical space. And so we're hoping actors can get work by it and producers can book our actors on the platform quicker.
Okay, so the first thing to establish then is it's not a listing of these are all the upcoming jobs. None of that.
That system is broken and it doesn't work for vertical so well. It kind of does. And, all there will be a market for that. But this is more, I want someone and I need them next week or tomorrow. Have they got experience? The biggest thing when we speak to producers, we've spoken to producers all over Hollywood, all over the world, in China as well. We did a big launch, an announcement of the app in China. Dan went over there. And people want actors with experience. You know this. You see the same actors, right? It's because they're experienced. They know it's 12-hour days. They know it. You need to know the lines. And also people like to see the same faces, right? They like to follow their actors. You like to see certain actors. You follow them. You do, don't you? So they want those people, if they already know they can do the job, they don't necessarily need the audition to do that, a self-tape, but they need to book someone, they need to book them now. So it's all about immediacy.
Okay. As an actor then, if you go and set yourself up with a VertiCast account, what are the things that you would need to provide to upload?
Yes. So it's app only. So by the time this comes out, it'll be on the iOS App Store, the Apple App Store for your iPhone and for your iPad, and on the Play Store. So that will be on the Android App Store. It works the same on both. I've got a version here on an iPad. Now, you're not going to use it on your iPad. You're going to use it on your phone. But I'll show you just because it works better on the screen. There'll be a little search thing down here that producers can put in stuff if they like, like a keyword for a character type or whatever they want to do. We've got gender stuff. If they're experienced, you want to find people that are experienced, and maybe an age range. It's up to you. And then it will just populate this, and you can go through and say yes, yes, no, no. People will say, yeah, I like that person, or I don't like that person for this particular role that they're doing. And we can watch showreel instantly as well, like that. So the showreels are vertical only. So you'd have to prepare to answer your question. A vertical showreel, and it must start with your face. Through We Audition, I see loads of showreels. People don't start with themselves. They start, if they've ever done a piece with a famous person, they start with the famous person. I've done that. I did it. I just did it. It is so important. You start with your own face, and you can see the first 3 seconds, people go, yeah, you're right for that. So you can prepare a show up to a minute and a half. I'd say about a minute was better, and some other pictures as well. So I just went through my list there. You can see, you could look through this list here. The idea here is that you could go through your list. I've only got a few on here, and you can then DM the people. So we're seeing this on Instagram at the moment. People are getting DM'd all the time for being asked to be in projects. So we're just sort of taking ownership of that, making it nice. And you can have your agent look at it as well. So if you're with an agency like Eris, Tina at Eris, she's come on board and she can deal with those emails for you, deal with those DMs for you, or you can do them yourself. You can both see those. So hopefully we're going to streamline that process and reduce that need to be doing 1,000 self-tapes. That's the plan anyway.
Presumably there's an advantage there as well, because one of the issues obviously with the Instagram DMs is that, particularly if you pop off or go big, you're also getting a lot of DMs from fans and a lot of DMs from your mum's long lost cousin, Deirdre, that kind of thing. So obviously actually trying to find the important ones that like, this is a job, people get overwhelmed. So I'm
presuming we try to do that with an inbox.
Some of that. Yeah.
Yeah, people get overwhelmed, of course, and they want to be, they want to engage with their fan base and do that. But this is a professional tool, so we've got like a silo of other actors if they want to contact them, and then we've got a silo like in a tab, so you can have agents and producers and directors contacting you, so you can liaise with them for the jobs. The aim, we've got lots of producers that are going to use it for their things because they can use it quickly. The aim is at the moment that they could book someone for tomorrow. If you wanted to be an actor in Hollywood and you were available tomorrow, you could put your availability on, and then you'd come up top in a search. Yep, I want a policeman tomorrow. I don't care about their gender or their ethnicity or their height. I don't care. Or their eye color. I want someone to be a policeman tomorrow. Ideal situation, you can have those. We've got a background tab as well. If people want to get into microdrama, background is often a way in, right? People find it very difficult. Producers find it very difficult to find background who are willing to do it for the money and for the time. So that's a good way in. So we've got a tab for that as well. So you could join and be part of our background listings as well.
I just want to ask you about availability, because I feel that that's a key thing, because I know that a lot of time can be lost about, people are waiting for projects to land and then something moves and then they've suddenly got a gap. That sounds like that's key, and there's probably not something else that will give that information as quickly as this is going to if you keep your calendar up to date on it.
Yeah, we're hoping. And I know that keeping a calendar up to date is a really difficult thing for actors to do, and you can't do it everywhere. But the idea of this is that if you update and said you were available we only do it for the next 10 days. So you can only put,
Perfect.
it's not forever. So literally, we've got a list. I'll show you here. We've got a list. Again, this will be on your phone, not an iPad. I'm just doing it so you can see it nice and big. You can just go, yeah, I'm available on this date here, and I'm available on this date, but I'm not available on that day. And these I don't know about. And what it'll do is if someone's searching, they need someone for this particular date, then if anyone has put their date as available, then they'll come up top on the search.
Yeah.
Simple as that. Our search is quite wide. We've done that on purpose because we want it to be a nice big, I want someone to be whatever character, an antagonist. We've let the pictures do the talking. So we've not necessarily said, you don't have to search for eye color. On all these platforms, you have to search for height, eye color, and all these things. I don't care what eye color my person's got. I need someone to be an antagonist. I want to look right. So I go through their pictures and I go, oh, they look right. They might be available. I'll DM them. I'll have a chat. So from the producer's point of view, much easier to contact people. And for the actors' point of view, really nice, really easy to keep a profile. You can upload pictures. You can upload a video introduction of yourself as well to show that you're a real person, not an AI, a real person. And we just say, hi, I'm Richard. I'm, from available in Atlanta or whatever you do. And then links to socials as well. So people could put that off there as well. And some agency, some union affiliations as well. So the aim for actors is that it's more like a fishing rod. It's out there. You can be on the system and people can contact you incoming rather than have to constantly go out and submit for projects. That's just a lot. And if you're on set and if you're a vertical actor, it's difficult to be submitting for projects, doing auditions and being on set. That's really difficult.
Can you just explain a little bit, just for people maybe who aren't actors but are looking at coming into the business, or even just fans watching this, just how much goes into submitting for a project? Because there's a little bit of a clue of what's behind you as well, but just to explain the length of time it can take.
Yeah, do you know what? Some people do them really quickly, and some people take a lot of time over them. It is a lot, and it's what a privilege it is to be asked to be auditioning for something. So if you were to say go on something like Actors Access, now that is a big website, breakdown services in America. You can go on there and say, yes, I'd like to be considered for this role. So someone might say, Jen's making a movie. So she might say, I'm going to make a vertical, and it's going to be, I need 4 people of this type. And then she'll put the role breakdown, and you can go through that and say, well, I could play person number 1. I could play person number 3 as well. Oh no, but I'll be perfect for person number 1. I'll do it. So you say that you could do it. And then Jen would look through the submissions. The producers get thousands, literally thousands of listings. They say, yeah, okay, Richard, send me a tape. Someone else send me a tape, and you might get 200 people. You might ask for a tape. These are not silly numbers. This is, realistic numbers. They might say more than that. And so then you might expect nearly 200 tapes back. Right. So the actor's been asked to submit a tape. You probably get a couple of days to do it, not always. You then get sent, with that request to do a tape, you get sent some sides. There'll be up to 14 pages for a film. Could be quite a lot. But usually for a microdrama, it will be 3 or 4 pages. Now you'll be talking to maybe character number 1, and maybe scene number 2, you'll be talking to a different character. What you do is you record those scenes yourself at home. Now, if you want to get that job, you probably need to learn that scene. You probably need to, have an idea of it, know the lines. You probably need to read with another person. Now, We Audition, which is 11 years old, came from this idea of this self-tape. So doing this thing at home, you have another person read the other lines. So if you're a non-actor, an actor would always ask their friend, their flatmate, their mum, or they might go onto a website like We Audition and hire someone to be the other person to read the other lines. You then record that tape with your best performance, and you might do more than one take on that. And you'd have to light it, and you'd have to have a backdrop. Now, I generally use this, which is just like a spewing thing that comes out, and it just makes your background look plain. That's all. It's grey on the other side. You can use a white wall. And then you record that tape, usually using a little clip microphone or a good microphone on a stand. And then you edit that to make that as good as you can. Take your best take, and then you send that off. That whole process takes, I think I've got it down to an hour. I think I've probably spent 3 or 4 on them sometimes. That whole process, that not including learning the lines. The learning the lines would be in addition to that. That could take an hour or 2 hours for a couple of pages. So there's a commitment. And if, say, you got one of those every day, that's your job. It's very difficult to sustain that all day, every day. But we're very lucky. If you get auditions, you feel lucky. And quite a lot of people drop everything else when they get an audition.
So just to explain as well, are you paid for that audition?
No, you're not paid for that audition. I'm not sure you should be paid for that audition, but it's a privilege to be asked. But back in the day, that's an interesting discussion. Back in the day, when you had auditions in person, the cast director would call in 10, 20 people. That's all they could see in a day, and they'd have those chats. So they would choose the best. With a self-tape, they might ask for 200 people. So that is a lot of people hours that's lost, because they might not watch all those tapes. They say that they do, but they might only watch the first 10 seconds and say, well, no, I was actually looking for someone not quite like that. So that's a lot of wasted time. No, you're not paid for that time. No. A lot of actors do.
I was thinking both, obviously, as part of acting, that's the kind of bit you're having to factor in, that obviously that's not, you're not on like an employed wage where that's included within it. But also that's kind of interesting what you're saying about, maybe in person there's kind of 2 sides to it, isn't it? Of like, that's giving more opportunities because that's 200 people who are potentially getting seen rather than 20, but that's also 200 people who are all reading and putting all that time in trying to, see what I'm saying? And then
it's a lot of people hours going in, yeah. And I have actually, I would always learn it and go through and get a feel for the character and just do all of the prep that I would do on a bigger show. But I have, if I was in a real rush, put it up on the screen and half read it. And you're not going to get those, probably, I don't think, but there is a bit of an incentive to do that a little bit. Anyway, what we're hoping is that if you've proved that you've done 5 verticals and you're awesome in all of them and you can do the job and you can deliver, to say really similar lines on a new production for a new show, well, you could probably do it. So what we're saying is let producers go through those. They go, yes, this guy, he could play James Bond. Hire him. Yes.
Perfect.
That's what I'm thinking. So we've got a lot of good feedback on it. We've got some testers on it at the moment. Really, really good. As I said, we've got producers on it at the moment that are looking to cast through it. And we're sending out stuff at the moment with our testers to say, these people can maybe do this show. Being a bit like a casting office. Yeah, really good opportunity for people. And I think there is still a window where it's better and cheaper and to be using human people to shoot stuff. People are still in that window now. That might be closing, but there is still opportunity for humans and actors. I hope there will continue to be forever.
There will be, don't worry. Creativity has a pulse. My question then is, when you've been showing it then to actors and actresses, kind of what's the overwhelming feedback that you get? What's the thing that they like, that they love? And is there something that surprised you that they're bringing up?
Yeah, I didn't mention it there, but we've got a thing for producers whereby you can upload a script and an AI will run through it and it will suggest people from the database to that script. So when you set your profile up, you can choose what sort of character to do. Now, there's tropes, isn't there, in Vertical? There is this sort of the billionaire. We talk about that, but there's lots of other things. We've got a whole list here that different sort of character types. And you might be, if you're starting off on your career, you might not want to play a main lead. You might want to be a maid or a police person or You might want to be a gardener. All of these things, you might put yourself in those boxes. So what we've done is we've got a whole long list of different character types, and we have all sorts on here. They're all taken from the whole genre, and you select what you want to be. So you can be there's a million here. I've got charming playboy, cold billionaire, college rival, trapped wife, corrupt lawyer, crime informant, crown prince. Like, we all of them. We generated these. We went through our big long list, and we've thought of anything we could possibly do. Now, what the AI does, it goes through the script, it picks out the characters, and then it matches those to the people that have selected that they think they can do those jobs, and they've got evidence that they've done those jobs. Good, right? So what it can
Yes.
do is I can upload my script of my new script that I've written, and I can say who could play this, and it will recommend everyone that thinks that they've done those jobs and has evidence of that. So I can see the show reel that someone's done a maid. Great. I wanted them to play a maid. They can definitely play a maid. Oh, they're available tomorrow in Atlanta. I'm shooting that tomorrow. Great. Book them. So for the producers, we're cutting out 4 or 5 steps. We're being really fast. For the actor, they're demonstrating that they've done that work already. They're not doing a self-tape for every single person, every single job individually. And so we're matching them together. We are using a bit of AI in that to match those two together. And I think that's a really valid use of AI. It's making producers' life easier, and it's making actors not have to do all that work again and again and again. So I think it's an exciting time. I think it could be really exciting.
From the kind of producer side, what's sort of the main thing they've got excited about when you've shown it to them?
Access and availability. Yeah, 100% availability. And background. Yeah, we've been asked for that a lot. And also from the agent's point of view, not being out of the loop as well.
Yeah.
For the producers, they want to be speaking to the agent because the actor's on set. They're busy. They're not available. They want to speak to the hi, agent, can I book them tomorrow for something? Yes, they're available. Great. Thank you. Booked. Or on the email or whatever they do. So that availability, producers have loved that, having people available. And also seeing people, seeing a real little clip of them in real life, because some people still don't look like their headshots. People in makeup look different. That's been really popular. So we'll see how that goes. And the immediacy of it, I think, is the real win for all the studios we've talked to, all the producers we've spoke to. They've been really, and also the sort of the professional nature of it. If you're contacting someone on Instagram, you're going out into the wide world of Instagram. They might not want to do anything else. They might be too busy. But if they're on here and they're available and they're saying, look, I want to be hired. So it's a professional place. It's more of a LinkedIn than it is
That makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense. So, what is your measure of success? When will you be able to go, VertiCast, that's delivered what we wanted it to?
Oh, I think if we make a difference. The biggest thing about We Audition, this is all made by the same team as We Audition, myself and Darren and our team. The biggest thing there has been changing people's lives by booking massive TV series and the community of people helping each other and supporting each other and changing lives. And, it sounds really icky, but when we're small and we realize that we want to be an actor and we have to do it and we go through all of this stuff, booking jobs is a big life-changing thing. And I think if we can help people get on those jobs and get those contacts and those relationships and that's what we want to do. Yeah, that's going to be a success. If we book one person, it's a success. But we want people to stay and to, make friends with those producers and do jobs again and again and start to make their own stuff with their own community and stuff. And I'm a big fan of that. I am. I've talked to you about casting people that through you. I want to make more stuff because I think there is a real return on investment in making your own stuff as an actor. Huge, huge. And we can put it on platforms like TikTok now without a barrier to entry. That's a huge audience available to anyone. We've never had that in the history of the world ever. We've never had the ability to reach an audience like we do right now.
It's amazing how it's all merging. I was just reading an article in one paper this morning about how some of the biggest movies, like the one that's just come out at the moment, are from YouTube creators who've now moved into directing. So like Obsession.
Backroom, number one this week, and Obsession number 2, both horrors, both came from people cutting their teeth on YouTube. So back in the 90s, we had like massive directors like Michael Bay and David Fincher. They were making commercials and they were able to sort of get paid making commercials. Then they got good at telling very short stories in a fantastical way. Then they came into the cinema and they could deliver stuff to an audience. This new generation, they're not doing that. They're making it on YouTube. They're making things for an audience all day, every day, and they're bringing that audience. So that's a Gen Z audience as well. So that is a real coveted cinema audience. It's nice to see. And then number 3, Star Wars, much older audience.
But yeah, it's amazing because it was like showing, it's like, no, these have been making, I think Obsession is like, it made more than Wuthering Heights and it made more than that. And it's like, this is stuff that obviously had the world's longest, biggest press tour. But this is what's actually got the people in the cinema and on the seats
We
loving the
forget the reach
experience of
that YouTube
being in a
has.
film.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's not a bad, those directors have been doing it again and again and again. Think of the amount of films that you've made on YouTube, putting them out, testing stuff. How do you hook an audience in? How do you keep an audience? Especially YouTube, that's formed into this sort of more long form drama. That suits actually going to cinema quite well. Slightly different with microdrama, which is a slightly more short form drama. It has its own nuance. But yeah, interesting how people are coming from that. And I think we'll see a whole slate of new directors coming out, and we already have, like with Dan from the UK. A whole, directors that specialize in the short form stuff. It's a really interesting thing. So I hope actors can, jump on that bandwagon and be part of that and just grow that community as well. Because I think that's kind of why we do it, growing those connections and that human connection and creating stuff together.
Okay, so people who are like, right, I want to get VertiCast, obviously we will put this out when the app is available on both Google Play, if you're on Android, on iOS, on Apple Store. If people wanted to contact you, you're active on social media channels, what's the best way for them to kind of interact with VertiCast?
We are VertiCast app. Do you know what? The social media for VertiCast has been huge. We've just seen it's been really, really great connecting with this whole community. And that's partly thanks to you, Jen, as well. And the people that are involved with that, they've been really welcoming. And VertiCast app is our Instagram. So we've got lots of stuff in there. We've got vertical news on there. We've got we're championing people who are doing stuff in VertiCast. The app itself will just be searching VertiCast on the App Store, on the Play Store. And the website is verticastapp.com, but there's no need to go to that really. We're on socials.
So yeah, get yourself over to Instagram, see what's going on, and join the VertiCast family.
Yeah, I'd say if you're an actor and you want to get into this is really great for you. If you're an actor and you're already in it, choose your clips, upload them, and we'll be putting you in front of producers as well. Because if you're already experiencing stuff, there's a whole load of people that really, really want to engage and hire people. So if you want opportunity, this is going to be good for you. We want to give more opportunity. It's good.
Awesome. And that's why Richard and I vibe, because that's our whole thing, opportunities, people. That's all we want to do.
Yeah. We want to see good people do good stuff.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you so, so much. And also thank you for the vision and just everything you've pulled together there and explained beautifully. You're a superstar.
You are welcome. Always love to speak to you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.